An update on the plans for CM Punk this coming weekend during the premiere episode of AEW Collision from Chicago, Illinois' United Center. Plus, Tony Khan opens up on WWE's merger with the UFC later this year under the Endeavor umbrella. Khan also provides an update on the status of the All Out 2023 pay-per-view just 1 week after All In at London's Wembley Stadium here in the UK. Rampage last Friday did the lowest ever viewership in its regular time slot. Details on that. Plus, Matt Hardy opens up about a viral video of a autograph hunter disturbing and bothering Jeff Hardy at an airport recently, and EJ Nduka reportedly is all elite. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. And let's talk about CM Punk and this coming weekend. Collision, Chicago, Illinois, the premiere episode of AEW Collision on TNT. And a lot of details. Let's start off first with Tony Khan talking about what Punk could actually be doing during the premiere broadcast this coming Saturday. The highly anticipated return of CM Punk to AEW will take place this weekend with the debut of the company's new Saturday night show, AEW Collision. Punk will compete in the main event alongside FTR as they take on Samoa Joe, Switchblade Jay White, and Juice Robinson of Bullet Club Gold. However, in an interview with WrestleNomics and Post Wrestling, AEW President Tony Khan hinted at more than just a match for Punk on Saturday. Quote, "I don't want to say too much yet," Khan said, responding to a question about whether fans should expect to hear from Punk during the Collision debut. "I do think it would make a lot of sense though. I know fans are going to be excited to hear from CM Punk. Obviously that match is in the main events, so that does leave us opportunities in the lead up to the show to do that, and I have to admit that it would make a lot of sense. The only other segment announced for Collision thus far is the return of Miro, who has been largely absent from AEW programming in recent months. With AEW Dynamite airing live tonight on TBS, it's likely that additional details will be announced for Saturday's show, which will be taking place at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Now, what reaction does Tony Khan think CM Punk is going to get? Well, of course, only days remain until the premiere episode of AEW Collision, and with it, the return of the aforementioned CM Punk, who of course has been out of action since All Out last September following a triceps injury, not to mention a reported incident with the Elites following the show. The latter situation has led to some wondering what kind of reception Punk might receive in AEW in his return, and just going forward in the future too. In an appearance on Barstool Wrestling, AEW owner Tony Khan was asked what he expected regarding Punk's reaction. Khan seems bullish on Punk getting a warm reception in Chicago, which would be obvious. Of course, that is the location of Collision's first episode, and he doesn't appear to be too concerned regarding the situation, largely due to Punk's connection with the audience and ability to read the room. He said, quote, "I think it will be very exciting to see how the fans react," Khan said. "I expect a very positive reaction, particularly in Chicago for the first episode, and I think going forward, CM Punk's one of the most popular wrestlers in the world. Certainly he's going to get a great reaction, and depending on who his opponent is and the type of reaction he's trying to get, I expect CM Punk to connect with the crowd as well as anybody in the entire pro wrestling business. All questions regarding Punk's fan support or lack thereof will be answered in the main event of Collision, as I mentioned, when Punk teams up with the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR to take on Jay White and Juice Robinson of Bullet Club Gold, along with longtime Punk rival Samoa Joe. It will be the first time CM Punk and Samoa Joe have wrestled each other since way back in August of 2005, nearly 20 years ago. Now, with the premiere of AEW Collision, it's led to a lot of questions about this rumored roster split, brand split, hard split, soft split, medium split, fluid split, whatever you want to call it. Well, ever since word first leaked out of the upcoming AEW Collision show, rumors and reports have been flying around about a potential brand split across the AEW roster, with some talent being featured on Collision and others being featured on AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage, or maybe even Ring of Honor too. The supposed facts of the matter have been just as vague really as AEW's reported backstage plans for the idea, but an interview with Barstool Wrestling's Brandon Walker, AEW CEO Tony Khan finally gave something resembling a firm answer to the rumours and reports. Quote, "I am going to feature certain talent on certain shows," Khan said, parroting the usual talking points about AEW Collision and its rumoured roster, "but I haven't drawn any hard lines or locked us into any kind of split of a roster." Khan believes that the two shows will be an opportunity for AEW to showcase certain wrestlers and certain stories, seemingly suggesting the audience will be left in suspense over which wrestlers and stories will appear on which show in any given week. He also cited the upcoming Forbidden Door 2 as a showcase for AEW as a united force against the stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The champions of AEW will be the champions on every show, and frankly, every promotion in the world, Khan said. We're not shy about the AEW wrestlers going out and taking on top stars and top competition from other companies. Collision, as I mentioned, is set to premiere this coming weekend and will feature the return of the divisive former two-time AEW World Champion CM Punk, as well as the equally divisive Thunder Rosa and former AEW TNT Champion Miro. As I mentioned, there has been speculation that one of the purposes of Collision was to separate these talents from the rest of the locker room, but Khan certainly sounds optimistic that he can make the floating nature of this supposed brand split work in the future. Now, what does Dave Meltzer think? Dave Meltzer has actually been a key component, really, to some of maybe CM Punk's gripes in All Elite Wrestling. For months, various people have been weighing in on the impending return of CM Punk, and since the official announcement of his involvement in AEW Collision, they've also been wondering how Punk will move the needle for the company's newest show. The response really has been all over the spectrum, hasn't it? Eric Bischoff is anticipating a dramatic failure. Jeff Jarrett is anticipating an incredible anticipation for the history-making return, and somewhere in between is the Wrestling Observer newsletter's Dave Meltzer. While appearing on Maguire on Wrestling, the veteran journalist weighed in on Punk's first appearance in an AEW ring since the Brawlout incident last year. Meltzer seemed less concerned with the main event of the first show, Punk is teaming with FTR to face Samoa Joe and Bullet Club Gold, than the former AEW World Champion's presence going forward, which Meltzer believes is integral to the immediate future of the company. Quote, "It's Punk's first match back, so it doesn't really matter who's in the match," he said. "Whatever the match itself is should be setting up an angle, whether it's for Forbidden Door, whether it's for All In, whether it's for next week's TV, or all of the above. The first rating for the show, even if it's good or bad or indifferent, is not as important as where they're going to be in week 3 and 4. Punk is the key drawing card. I'm not going to say that it's going to succeed or fail on him, but he is the key component right now." Another important measuring stick for Collision, according to Meltzer, is that it can't follow in the footsteps of AEW Rampage. That show, of course, did start out fairly strong with big names and engaging storylines, but has tapered off in recent months, especially after the discontinuation of AEW's lower card heavy YouTube broadcast. We're going to talk about AEW Rampage in just a bit because, again, the ratings are not good for that show this past week. Now, what about us over here in the UK? Well, United Kingdom fans will reportedly be able to watch AEW Collision on television as soon as next week. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer reported on Wednesday that AEW has struck a deal with ITV4 to air Collision on Wednesday night starting June 21st. The time slot has not been confirmed, however, the show airing on a delay will follow the same trend as AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage, which air on Fridays and Tuesdays respectively. AEW fans in the UK and other countries, including Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand, among other select markets, will be able to watch Collision live and commercial-free via Fight TV's AEW Plus subscription package. Fans in the United States and Canada do not have access to AEW Plus due to network deals with TNT, TBS, and TSM Plus. This deal is among the latest positive developments for AEW fans in the UK. As noted, the company will hold its first event in London on August 27, with All In at Wembley Stadium. With over 65,000 tickets sold thus far, it's already set to be AEW's highest attended event since its inception in 2019. But first, AEW will premiere Collision this Saturday from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, where Punk will make his return, not only to AEW, but also to in-ring action as well. Now, talking about this brand split as well, what's quite interesting is that actually during a new interview with the Please Still Our Ideas podcast, these names, Andrade El Idolo revealed that he would prefer a more WWE-like approach, where the two brands have distinct rosters and championships, with AEW Collision having its own roster, own championship, and AEW Dynamite having its own roster and own championships too. Andrade explained, quotes, "I don't know yet, but I hope the shows will be separate. I hope they make a new title, maybe separate the brands like it's another company. I hope that Dynamite to the roster and the talent, Collision, this new brand for AEW, I wish for the shows to be separate. I don't know yet." Andrade went on to explain that in order to effectively distinguish Collision as a new brand separate from the rest of AEW, he believes providing brand new championships and goals for talent was necessary, adding, quote, I hope so too, because this is an new brand, we need new goals. If we have different titles, it's good because you can compete for the title. In response to this, Andrade was rightfully asked about the problems this approach could pose for AEW, a company that was already received criticism from fans for its overabundance of title bouts. To which Andrade responded, quote, "I think it's good. I love the idea because this is more opportunities for the roster, more storylines for the titles. I think maybe in the future, or maybe soon, new titles is a good idea. I hope the office or the writers will hear this. Yeah, 100%, we need a new title." So Andrade not only wants a roster split, he wants titles. I wonder why. Let's talk about Tony Khan discussing the WWE and UFC merger. With WWE and UFC merging under Endeavor, Tony Khan has discussed the impact of the merger and what's more imperative than ever for AEW. On April 3rd, Endeavor announced they had reached an agreement to merge WWE and UFC into one sports and entertainment juggernaut company. With AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling collaborating once again for the upcoming Forbidden Door show, Tony Khan spoke to Reuters about working with the top Japanese company and his hopes to repeat the partnership at AEW's UK debut for All In at Wembley Stadium. Speaking to Rocky Swift of Reuters, the AEW CEO said, quote, "It would be a huge benefit to AEW if there is participation from New Japan Pro Wrestling and some of their top stars in the event. With more than 65,000 tickets already sold for the Wembley Stadium London show on August 27, no matches have been announced, although things are starting to heat up for Forbidden Door. So far, for Forbidden Door on June 25th, Kenta has teased a match with CM Punk, and 2 matches have been confirmed, with Kazuchika Okada facing Bryan Danielson and IWGP United States Champion Kenny Omega defending the title against Will Ospreay. Looking at the merger between WWE and UFC, Khan spoke about the thing he sees as most imperative for the future of AEW, adding, quote, "In a world where the proposed merger happens, as it is suggested on paper, then I would believe the AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling partnership is more imperative than ever before." New Japan Pro Wrestling President Takahami Ibari has also echoed Khan's sentiments about the merger and working relationship, saying, quote, "It's really mutually beneficial in terms of the global expansion for New Japan and also for AEW. According to Reuters, New Japan would consider sending talent to AEW All In if an offer was made." So probably, if you are going to that show, expect some New Japan talent there. It looks very likely. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to All Out. We spoke about All In, but what's happening with All Out? It's only 7 days after this event. While AEW's All Out pay-per-view is usually a lock for Labor Day weekend in September, this year things aren't quite so clear-cut, just yet anyway. The status of the show has largely been called into question due to AEW's historic All In event from Wembley Stadium on August 27, just a week prior to All Out's prospective date. Despite the events being seemingly confirmed to remain in its usual date by AEW's Senior Vice President and Chief Legal Officer, that being Mega Pereg, AEW President Tony Khan has recently cast doubt on this during an interview with Barstool Wrestling. When asked about the status of All Out 2023, Khan seemingly confirmed that the pay-per-view will be going ahead for the 5th time. However, he seemed unsure that it will be taking place in early September. Khan said, quote, "We'd be approaching the 5th annual All Out, so I think it's safe to say I'm not going to miss that kind of opportunity. I'm waiting to confirm what people can expect, but certainly we built a great tradition with All Out, and this is going to be the 5th year of it. And we are coming up on the 4-year anniversary of the original All Out, and now, of course, we're doing All In for the first time in AEW All in London, and it would be very fitting for there to be All Out, so stay tuned for more information on that." Many fans question AEW's logic of potentially hosting All In and All Out in such close succession, so perhaps Tony Khan himself is having second thoughts regarding the timing of the event also. While All In is sure to be one of AEW's most pivotal dates in its history, another landmark occasion will be this Saturday, as I mentioned, with the debut of AEW Collision on TNT. Now, we spoke about earlier on that there has been this discussion point that Collision can't become what Rampage has become. I got there in the end. And the reason is because Rampage is not doing well on TNT at the moment. Yes, it's been preempted a load of time, but it was back in its normal time slot, as it has been for the last few weeks this past Friday, and the viewership was not good. The viewership figure and demo rating for Friday's June 9 episode of AEW Rampage on TNT has been revealed. Per Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, Rampage drew 291,000 viewers. This is down from the June 2nd episode that drew 357,000 viewers. This is the lowest total viewership for the program ever in its normal time slots. In the key 18 to 49 demographic, Friday's episode scored a 0.10 rating. This is also down from the week prior that scored a 0.11 rating. This is the second lowest demo rating for the show ever in its normal time slot. AEW ranked number 27 on cable in the demo for the evening. The show featured Sky Blue defeating Nyla Rose, Mercedes Martinez, and Dr. Britt Baker DMD in a four-way match to become the #1 contender for Toni Storm's AEW Women's World Championship. Blue will face Storm for the championship tonight live on AEW Dynamite on TBS. So certainly the numbers not good for Rampage this past Friday. Granted, there was a lot of competition, which might be the reason why, but still not looking good. Now, this has been a video that went viral on social media, and it's got a lot of people talking, and I suppose rightfully so. Every fandom typically involves a sense of entitlement, and professional wrestling fandom, I guess, is no exception, especially when it comes to hunting for autographs. We've done this a million times here. The latest target, Jeff Hardy, who, when recently approached at an airport by a fan, agreed to sign something for him. The fan proceeded to ask Jeff to sign print after print after print, which he did without batting an eye. And again, I use the term fan loosely because it might not even be a fan. These are these weird autograph, not even hunters, sellers that wait at airports, that wait at hotels, that wait outside arenas, that get people's personal information, sometimes even show up to their houses on their doorsteps, ask them to sign things, and again, not because they want the experience, not because they want the autograph to keep for themselves and cherish. If you watch the video, this guy literally has, as I mentioned, print after print after print, and as Hardy's signing them, he's throwing them on the floor to dry them off because they're a commodity to him that he's going to sell. They do this as well where they show up with action figures literally on bits of card that they can sign bit after bit after bit like it's an autograph signing. It's crazy. We've seen this before. Rhea Ripley had the same issue not that long ago. Everyone's had it, and it's ridiculous. Now, Monday afternoon, Matt Hardy took to Twitter to address the occurrence, accusing the people in question of taking advantage of Jeff's kindness. Quote, "Jeff doesn't actively look at anything on Twitter unless he has something to post, so I'm going to address this," the tweet began. "This is definitely taking advantage of Jeff's kindness. If you see a wrestler in the airport and ask for an autograph or two, that's acceptable. This isn't. Not appropriate or cool." Now, hunting for autographs, particularly at airports or even hotels, as I mentioned, is nothing new. That said, the practice itself has come under increased scrutiny in recent months following highly publicized interactions with the likes of Rey Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, and others. Mysterio, good for him, eventually stopped signing entirely, while Rhea Ripley stated that she'll ultimately only sign personal photos going forward, i.e., if you have a picture of me and you, I'll sign it. If not, I'm not going to fund your business and again, have you stalk me at airports or outside my hotel. It's nuts. Wrestlers are typically too nice to walk away from these situations, and their fans are their lifebloods. But Mysterio and Ripley decided to implement a cutoff, drew the ire of fans who expect them to sign everything they have on hand. WWE superstars have now begun to cut back on signing in public in general, again, as they should. I mean, if you've got your kid there, or if you're yourself, you happen to bump into him or anything like that, that's fine. Take a selfie. It's 2023. But it's the premeditated nature of arriving there with a stack of prints or a stack of action figures. It's nuts. It's nuts. Now, count Matt Hardy among those who believe of having a cut-off point is more than reasonable. While he understands that being approached for autographs comes with the territory, there has to be some level of respect between the parties involved, which is what the tweet mentioned, as I said. What do you think of that whole autograph in the airports thing? For me, it's really, really gross. Finally, EJ Nduka, apparently he's all elite. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, EJ Nduka is no longer a free agent and actually hasn't been for quite some time. The former WWE and MLW talent became a free agent at the beginning of this year when he amicably left Major League Wrestling upon his contract expiring. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select is reporting that Fightful has learned that Nduka has indeed signed with All Elite Wrestling after making his company debut back in January, facing Konosuke Takeshita. Nduka hasn't actually been in the ring since then, but was seen around WrestleMania weekend festivities. Fightful have been told he's under some sort of AEW deal and has been for quite some time. Fightful had reported that Nduka had interest from WWE as well as companies in Mexico and Japan. However, Fightful have been told that when James Kimball was fired from WWE, that a lot of the possibilities and possible hires he was looking at weren't followed up upon. AEW was immediately interested in Nduka upon his debut. They haven't been able to confirm the level of his deal with All Elite Wrestling, but according to the reports and rumors, Nduka is All Elite. So there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE. No. So there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.